Neville, thank you for joining us here on the Digital Missionary channel and the Gain channel. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Neville. What do you do for work and where are you based?
Okay, I'm based in a country called Namibia, which is in Africa, just north of South Africa on the west coast, sandwiched between South Africa and Angola. That gives people some kind of an idea. I've been living here for the last 31 years and got a lot of my training, which God thought that I needed here in these years. I started off by working with computers, had a lot of computer and experience that related to computers and IT. Then went to study theology, and in my final year I was offered a job to come and do broadcasting in then Southwest Africa, now Namibia. And I worked in broadcasting for a long time, and looking back, I know that God had an idea about my training for specifically a time like this. Because without my computer knowledge and without my broadcasting knowledge, I can tell you I will not have been able to put together the things to do what I'm doing right now. And it was because putting of all those things together, developing cell phone evangelism, that Adventist World Radio heard about it and then called me to Washington. And I went there, and since then I've been working for them. So I'm a full-time employee of Adventist World Radio currently, working for Dwayne McKee, the president of Adventist World Radio. And I have been traveling all over the world to get people trained and organized and in tune so that they could do digital evangelism. And with the lockdown and with the pandemic that's come along, it's certainly been timely. That's why I say God knew a long way before that he had to prepare me for this, where I didn't even have the faintest idea that this is what he was having in store for me.
Amen. That's a line I've used a little bit in that the pandemic certainly didn't surprise God. God wasn't surprised by any of this. And so...
No, not at all. He was prepared. And I mean, it's just the timing as well, Kyle. I mean, it's when he called me to go and do what I did and how Washington got me. I mean, it was a couple of years ahead, and there was enough time to have gone all over almost. I mean, there's hardly a place I haven't been and haven't trained. So and now it's interesting where people. 3 years back when I was talking to people, well, you know, they were interested, but they weren't that interested, you know, and there was a lot of other things to do. But all of a sudden, since the pandemic, the calls coming in from the people saying, hey, you know what, you gave us that training. Now's the time. Can you just give us a refresher on this? And we're doing it with, you know, the Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So it's interesting how all of a sudden all these things are picking up and how it's being utilized. So yes, God was not surprised at all. He had it all planned.
Awesome. So our topic for today is WhatsApp specifically. I know that as part of cell phone evangelism, you're involved in many different aspects of what the cell phone's capable of, but specifically on WhatsApp, we want to pick your brain today. And we may as well start from the very beginning. Tell us about the cost and the availability of WhatsApp as an app to everybody, for those who may not be familiar with it yet.
Well, actually, WhatsApp as an app is free of charge. There's no cost involved for that. So that's as simple as going to your either your Google Play Store or your App Store on Apple and just downloading the app. At the same time, I would also suggest to people that they should download the app onto their laptop or desktop, because although it's great to have it on your phone, the moment you start using it beyond the normal day-to-day chatting, when you start using it for something like we're doing, it actually makes a lot more sense to do it off your laptop and off your desktop. of course, your cell phone has to be there, because that's just like that's an interface that you download on your laptop or your computer. It doesn't take any of your data of your telephone and store it on your computer. So people don't have to be afraid of that. It stays on your phone, and that's where it is. Your phone has to actually be in the close proximity of the computer. So it uses, you work on your computer, but it channels everything through your phone.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
just an interface program, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. Is there any paid
it
levels
makes
at
it,
all?
no, not really, but it's
Okay.
like I say, it's just ease, because when you get, we use broadcast list, and I will explain that in a moment. But the reason why we use broadcast list is really a security issue, and we'll go into that a moment or two later. But when you use that, it is much, much easier to do your work physically, because you can store big files and create big files on your computer, and then you can send them as documents or as bundles. And when you do that, your computer, the way your computer works, it'll keep them in sequence. Telephones don't. Telephones download the shortest one first, and then the second shortest one, and so on. And so then it goes out of sync. So, and then the receiver has got a hard time to figure out what to listen to first or what to see first.
Yeah.
So your computer, in that case, keeps it in its sequence, and it's downloaded in its sequence on the listener or the receiver's end. And so it's much easier for the receiver to do it. That's one of the reasons. But again, it's much easier to try and upload documents from your computer than it is to upload documents from your phone. So it's just an ease of operation, really.
Yep. Tell me, what would be the advantages of using WhatsApp over another messaging service?
Actually, not much, really. The message platforms are pretty much the same. You know, the Balkan states and the Russian states, they prefer Viber, and Viber does everything that WhatsApp does. You know, they give or take, there's a little bit of, one has got a little bit more stickers than the other one, and the one sells stickers and the other one gives them free, and, you know, stuff like that. But basically they do the same thing. Line, the Japanese people prefer Line, but again, it's 6 of the one and a half dozen of the other. The only real one that is like major differences is Telegram. Telegram is a fast-growing messaging platform. It's a very fast-growing messaging platform. The nice thing about Telegram is you can use Telegram almost as a radio station. They don't have a broadcast list, but they have a broadcast. So with the broadcast lists on many of these platforms, you have a limit. So WhatsApp, for instance, you have 256 people that you can put on a WhatsApp list. Well, Telegram, you can put 20,000 if you like. In a broadcast community, you can put 100,000. It doesn't matter. So you have an unlimited amount of people that you can put in on Telegram, which makes it nice. Secondly, the artificial intelligence side on Telegram is free. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to have a license for it. And if you know anything about artificial intelligence and chatbots, well, it gives you that option to program things, and it certainly can make your life easier. Whereas on all the other platforms, whether that's QQ or YY or WeChat or WhatsApp or Viber or whatever it is, you have to physically go and apply to use that. And they do give it to you at Adventist World Radio. We have the availability to do it. And we've got a software engineer called Michael Dant who physically writes. So we have got a chatbot, for instance, for our cell phone evangelism. Up to very recently, we didn't promote it too strongly because there were some issues that we had to sort out. Those issues are slowly but surely almost all of them sorted out. One or two more, but we're in a position now where we can actually strongly go that way. So that side of things there are more differences than on the usage side. On the usage side, well, you can chat, you can send photos, you can send videos, you can send voice, you can do groups, you can do broadcasts. You know, they all have that same sort of capabilities. The one is just a little bit stronger than the other one, or they allow you more people, or their rules are a little bit different.
Gotcha.
But basically, they all do the same thing.
In what areas or regions would you think that WhatsApp is more popular?
WhatsApp is the most popular one all over the world.
Right.
All over the world.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that actually don't think so. When I was in Japan, that was interesting. I trained the people in Japan, and Japan, like I said, they prefer line. Now, the Japanese are interesting people. They prefer line for the simple reason that they can buy these stickers, and they can have their own stickers designed. And I don't know, but the Japanese like spending money on that kind of thing. I don't know why, but they do. So they really love that facility. And of course, on WhatsApp, there's no such thing. You know, you can put a sticker there if you like, but you have to get it from somewhere else. But they've got emojis, so you know, that's about the best you can get out of WhatsApp. But WhatsApp is a much stronger one. And then on WhatsApp, you have got a stronger security. So you've got encryption, person-to-person encryption. So that makes it a very useful sort of platform. But even in Japan, when I was there, I explained to them that Line can do everything that WhatsApp can. I said, but we're going to use WhatsApp. We're going to train you in WhatsApp. And a lot of them said, well, you know, the Japanese people will not do that. They will not download WhatsApp. They will just use Line. No, the Japanese people won't give you their telephone numbers. They are very personal people, and they are very introverted, and they will not do that, and so on. And then I said, okay, but let's just do a test. Humor me. Just download WhatsApp on your cell phones right now. You can always delete it afterwards, but download it on your cell phones right now. And they did. And then I said, okay, open up your WhatsApp if you like. And they opened it up. I said, well, what do you see? And they said, there's a lot of names. I said, yeah. And? Yeah, they don't know. Why is the names here? I said, aren't they the names that are in your contact list, in your addresses? Oh, yeah, that's names in our addresses. Yes, you are right. I said, well, all those people already have WhatsApp. You are behind. You can already start chatting to them. And so they were surprised. WhatsApp really is an incredibly powerful platform. And of course, the nice thing about it, like I said, it's free. If you are in a Wi-Fi area, so that means any shop, wherever people are in town, if they just go to the nearest coffee shop and have a glass of water or whatever, it doesn't matter, there's free Wi-Fi. Most shopping centers have free Wi-Fi nowadays. Everywhere you go, there's free Wi-Fi. If you are in a Wi-Fi area, your WhatsApp works, and it's free. The only time that you have to physically pay something for WhatsApp is if you are outside of a Wi-Fi area and you are on a service provider that will charge you for data. Well, then you have to be a little bit careful. Then data can cost you. But again, your voice messages and your text messages that's just really almost negligible. It's when you start viewing YouTube videos and stuff like that, then it chews up data. Then it will cost you. But you don't do that when you go to a Wi-Fi area and you go and sit and watch them there.
Yeah. So going back to that encryption point, I do remember that WhatsApp has always been encrypted and the more secure one, right? Recently, with its Facebook acquisition, Facebook taking over WhatsApp and branding it a Facebook app, does that alter the security of it at all? Does Facebook now have access to our data to boost their statistics and their intelligence gathering?
No, there's two parts to that. There is a part where they do have access. So for instance, if you are going to use WhatsApp and you're going to use that in a group setting, like I said, you've got three possibilities on WhatsApp. You've got a person-to-person communication thing. That's encrypted. Nobody can open that. So that's fine. If you and I chat on WhatsApp, that's it. Only you and I know what's going on there.
Okay.
If we on a group, then that information is available. Because a group, although it is encrypted, it is not person-to-person encrypted. A group is open. So we don't suggest that people use groups. Yes, there are all kinds of other things that you can set on a group. You can go to the group setting. You can make it a private group. You can select that only admins can post and that only admins can respond. You can do all that kind of thing. The problem is that it does not adhere to the GDPR regulations of Europe. So what do we mean by that? The one is that people have access to the private information or private details of the people on the group, because you can go into the group, or you don't have to be an admin. You can go into the group, and when you're into the group, you can see every single person that's on that group. And if you click on those names or tap on those names, that will open. And if you then tap on the information bar, you will get their telephone number. And if they put in their email, you will get their email. And so you can get a lot of information from there. You can harvest information. And so we don't suggest using groups. We don't like open groups. There are a place for them. There's one or two where I actually do use groups, but then it is a very specific thing, and we've got very strict rules on it. So in my church setting, for instance, my church has got an open group. It's limited, obviously, to admins and stuff like that, because we don't want it to be a chat group. So yes, it is limited. But we have got very clear rules that the only thing that we do there is post information relevant to the church members. So we don't chat, we don't have prayer requests, we don't have nothing on that, because we are well aware that this is a group that, yeah, people can see, people can, and we also tell people, don't put personal information in your profile on your phone, because otherwise it'll be displayed there. And if we get somebody on the group that's a wrong person, well, they can harvest the information, they can cause damage. So we don't, we really don't like groups at all. Like I said, there is a place for them, but we try and avoid them if possible. Then there's the broadcast list. The broadcast list is a much, much better option. A broadcast list, you can have up to 256 people on that list. You can have multiple lists, but the list works as if it is person-to-person communication. Right. So it still remains a person-to-person encrypted message. Right. So on a broadcast list, on an open group, if somebody, your friend, gives me your number, I can put your number on that group. And the moment I put you on the group will open on your phone. You will see that you are on a group. And of course, when I send you the message, everybody else can see the message. And if you respond, everybody else can see the message too. On a broadcast list, if I put you on the list, you won't even know that you're on the list. Okay. Because the group does not open on your phone. Yep. Number two, if your friend gave me your number without your permission and my number is not on your phone, it doesn't matter how many messages I send you, you will not get them. The encryption only works once my number is on your phone and your number is on my phone. Only then does the encryption open. So there's no way that nobody can get into that information on a broadcast list. So that's the one that we use. We prefer that. It's safe, it's secure. As far as privacy protection is concerned, it conforms to the GDPR regulations. And again, as far as information is concerned, if I send out the message, yes, okay, my message is meant for everybody. So yes, everybody that has got my number on their phone, they will get my message. But when they respond, it will be a personal response to me. Nobody else will get that message. Got it. So the communication will be a one-on-one communication, and it will be a protected communication. So that's the nice thing about that. Again, it conforms to the GDPR regulations of Europe. The other thing, of course, is when we use that kind of thing, and unfortunately we can't use it everywhere, but if we use it where it is sensitive for people to receive Christian messages especially, it does help protect them. Now, this is where Telegram is a little bit better. Yep. Because with Telegram, you have got, you have got instructions that you can activate. So for instance, if I'm sending a message to somebody in North Korea, I can add that instruction on that message to say, if this person opens the message and have read the message, the moment that message is closed, self-destruct the message. Then that message is not on that person's phone anymore. So even if they catch him and force him to give them their code or whatever, if their phone is open, there's no message. You can also make it so that you can say, okay, I'm sending this message to this person. I'm not sure whether this person will get the message directly, but give the person 15 minutes. And if he doesn't open the message within 15 minutes, self-destruct. So again, you protect people that could get into harm's way. And so Telegram there is better than WhatsApp, for instance.
Yeah, right. It has a built-in Mission Impossible sort of a function.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess the extent of my WhatsApp use has been sending voice memos to try and save time typing. And obviously I've got it on my laptop and I drag and drop photos, and file management is certainly a lot easier. That's about the extent of my use of WhatsApp. So I'm clearly not a power user. How is it that AWR uses WhatsApp for evangelism? When you say that you've got broadcast lists, does AWR set up those lists, or do you encourage locals to set those lists up?
No, locals, what we do is we train people to become cell phone evangelists. So once we've trained up those people, basically they have to find their own people that they are going to send the messages to, whether that comes from their circle of friends or whether it comes from people that have requested Bible studies, and the coordinator of the church, the interest coordinator of the church maybe gives them names, or somebody else, doesn't matter. So yes, obviously the personal sort of thing. But then, of course, we also teach them how to get people to register and subscribe by using the different digital platforms. We prefer 3 platforms. Of course, there are many, again, as you know. We prefer 3. We prefer Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we teach them how to work on those 3 platforms specifically, and how to engage on those platforms where people will say, hey, okay, I want to get these Bible studies and I would like to register for them. And of course, if they register, that's fine. They've voluntarily registered for the Bible studies. And then we send out the Bible studies on cell phone via WhatsApp. So they get the messages. The sermons are in different languages. We've got many, many different languages at the moment. And we take a sermon, which is a 40-minute sermon. We break it up into sound bites. So we've got 6 sound bites making up one sermon. And we send out those 6 sound bites, let's say on a Sunday evening. We send that out, all 6 of them. And the next sermon we will send out the next Sunday. So the receiver has got 1 week time to listen to those sound bites, go and check their own Bibles, do their own reading if they want to. They have time to give you questions or send you questions. And so then the next Sunday they get the next one. So that's what we use the broadcast list for. So we've got the sermons recorded in various languages, in Spanish and French and English and different other languages, Swahili. We've got them in Telugu, 10 different Indian languages, basic English for the Papua New Guineans. So yeah, and so they can get the audio sermons already from us. Alternatively, we send them the text sermons. The text sermons are sermons written by Mark Finley. And then they can record those sermons in their own language if they like, and they can send it out from there. Even if they have the audio recordings, they always have to do an intro and an ending, which they can do either by text or by voice note, whichever they are comfortable with. But of course, the beginning note and the end note is there to get engagement, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just send out sermons. Yeah, that's okay, that's fine. But it's, you know, a lot of people in the church do not really understand digital media. They don't understand these platforms. That's a little unfortunate, because we've got a very little window left. And actually, every single church member can now be a very, very big part of finishing the work for Christ. That's a major thing that can happen in church right now. And if you use the platforms correctly, you can have an incredible impact. So, for instance, you know, people just need, well, a lot of people in the church shy away. They don't want to have Facebook. They don't want to have this. They don't want to have, well, yeah, it could be a nasty thing. It could take up a lot of your time. But I mean, that's one of the things as a Christian, you should be able to control that, and you should be in charge of that, and you should do that prayerfully, and you shouldn't go and play on there just for social. I mean, you should go and be there for a purpose. And if you've got that right, well, then go on with a clear idea of meaningfully engaging. That's the criteria. You want to meaningfully engage by your own posts or by responding to posts. And the best one, of course, of the three is Instagram, because Instagram is a platform for interaction, for people sharing their lives. That's what happens on Instagram. They've got this story thing that they share the stories of their life, and you can pick up a lot of interesting facts if you pay attention on these platforms. That's the important thing. You really need to listen with your eyes. You have to pay attention, because this is what Jesus did. You know, when Jesus was on earth, he went around and he was trying to find out what the needs of the people were, and then he used to address those needs. And once he's addressed the needs, then he said to them, follow me. And this is the same thing. Your community is not Ephesus, maybe, or your community is not Corinth, or your community is not Judea or Galilee or whatever. That's not, your community is now on Facebook. That's where you find people. Ellen White says we need to reach people where they are. So where are they? They're on their cell phones right now. That's where people are. So find them on their cell phones, on these media platforms, and then take a look at what their need is. That's why you pay attention. You find out what is their need. Is it a physical need? Have they just lost their job or whatever, or something like that? Is it an emotional need? Are they in a black hole of depression because a relationship is broken up or whatever? Is it, you know, that's how you determine these things. And once you've seen what the need is, engage meaningfully and set up a sort of a relationship. So next time when you respond and you say to them, oh, by the way, you know what, I see this has happened in your life, and you know what, I really feel for you. But you know what, I can suggest a really good Bible study for you that will give you answers to why this is happening to you. And then because you've built up this trust, because remember, when you go out there as a church member and you are target driven, or you've got a goal, you're goal driven, if you like. So you are there to do meaningful engagement. You are there to check out what's happening. Well, if that is the case, and people start getting to know you, they will start seeing that you are authentic. They will start seeing that you are humble, and they will see that you are sincere. And when people have established that fact, that you are authentic, humble, and sincere, well, when you offer them and you say, you know what, I really have something that I can offer you. You don't have to listen if you don't like it. But you know what? I think I found answers in this, and it really helped me. And I can suggest this to you. Would you like to have them? And because they've got this relationship with you now, they will respond and say, yeah, sure, I'd like to hear. And then you can send it to them on WhatsApp. And of course, you know, the interesting thing is, I just spent some time with somebody that's a YouTube fundi. He really knows what he's doing on YouTube. And the interesting thing that he told me about this is for successful YouTube. One of the points he makes there, he says, the best form of communication for making offers, for putting out requests to make a decision, for receiving information is WhatsApp. He says, if you want to be a successful YouTuber, you cannot do it without WhatsApp.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I found that very, very, very interesting. And he's like I say, I think he's got 269 million viewers.
Wow.
I think he's successful.
Yeah.
And he
so
says,
he's personally engaging with people.
You need
through
WhatsApp. Yes. Right. He says it's fine. You can give them all the information, and you can give them all the slides and the pictures and stuff like that they need. That you can do. But at the end of the day, you need to communicate with them. And if you want to give them an offer like a free book or whatever, or you want to draw them into your internet for sales as a marketer, you've got to communicate with them somehow.
Right.
And that somehow, he says, the best one is WhatsApp.
So tell me if I'm on the right track here. Email marketing is a way to get in front of people. You're getting into their computer, you're showing up on their phone through an email. But it's possible to use WhatsApp. It's possible to use WhatsApp broadcast lists as a way to be texting people continually instead of emailing people. Is that right?
Well, we use the WhatsApp as a step in between. So we'll use social media to get the people to engage by addressing their need. So we will address their need, and then by addressing that need, that means that we're going to send them a series. That could be because they're battling with smoking and they want to stop smoking. Well, you just put a stop smoking seminar, just do it, put it on voice, on audio, and send it to them. Right. Now you are addressing the need. If they've got health problems, well, send them the health tips. If it's, all kinds of, it doesn't matter, whatever the need is, just address the need by sending them this little series. Once they're into the series, you start engaging a little bit further. Now, one of the ways that we engage them or get them onto WhatsApp is this. We say to them, by the way, we've got this series that we can send you. We'd like to send it to you on WhatsApp. So now we've got their WhatsApp number. When we send out the series, one of the first things we'll do, and this is how we really get meaningful engagement, we say, you know what, we'd like to pray with you about your need. Why don't you tell us what is the really, really most important thing that you want us to pray for? And so now you start getting them to respond to you. And so we start praying, and we really pray for them, and we follow up 3 days afterwards. We actually follow up and say, we have been praying. What's happening? Do you want to give us some feedback? And number one, you surprise people because they say, wow, you're really praying for me? No, I'm not used to that. People say they'll pray for me, but they walk out of the door and they don't even know what my request is anymore. But you are really like praying for me? That's building the authenticity and the sincerity and the humbleness, you see. So when they get that, they start opening up a little bit more, and this loyalty and trust develops. And so a little later on, you will say, oh, by the way, you know what? I'm sure you must have some problems in the town you live in. Haven't you got a prayer request for your town, perhaps? Maybe it's, you've got a lot of crime there, or maybe there's a drug infestment problem, or, haven't you? Oh, yeah, we have. Actually, I have. But now you know where they stay. And they might stay very far from you. But now it gives you the opportunity to start getting in touch with the pastor of the church over there and informing them you've got somebody that you will have to start thinking about, he might have to go and visit them. So that gives you that opportunity. And then the next step in the line is you say, you know what, all these material that you've received, actually, you know what, there's a little book out about that, or I have got those notes on my computer, and I can send it to you by means of a ebook if I have your email address. And then they give you your email address. And of course, then with the email, with WhatsApp, yes, this is something else. The various platforms have got various sort of rules, and you have to understand that too.
Yeah.
Research tells us the attention span of people are 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So if people have 8 seconds, just think about it. What can I really say to them? Well, Facebook says to us, a short message is 60 to 80 letters. A long message is 60 to 80 words. Instagram says 200 letters maximum. Twitter says 200 letters. You can write more if you like, but you're wasting your time. If you cannot say what you want to say in 60 to 80 letters or 60 to 80 words, that's it. Forget it. You've lost.
Yeah.
That's the time they have to give you. So make sure you can say it in that space of time.
Right.
Then if they engaged, you can go to the next level. That's why we engage them there. Then we take them to WhatsApp, where we can send them short audio notes, the sound bites. We divide the sermon in sound bites for the simple reason. If I send you a sermon, and that sermon, when you get it, you say 40 minutes, I don't have time. I can't listen to this. Because time is an expensive commodity nowadays. So you say, no, I don't have the time. But you keep it and you say, I might listen to it, but in a week's time you delete it anyway, because you haven't gotten to listening to it. But if you send them short sound bites, and those sound bites are 3 minutes to 5 minutes, you say, yeah, I have 3 minutes. Okay, I'll listen. And if that's interesting enough and the information is good, you will listen to the next one and the next one. And by the end, you've listened to 40 minutes, but you get a thing that says 40 minutes in the start. Nah, you're not going to do that. So that's why we break it down. So you get the short version where you get the attention, then you go on to WhatsApp, which gives you that little bit of more leeway, and it also gives you the leeway of pictures and diagrams and stuff like that. And then you bring them onto email, and on email, well, now you've got a longer conversation. So that's
actually
the
micro commitments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting them to commit to small things and then ramping them up to bigger things. Tell me, Neville, about the backdrop behind you, and is that used for WhatsApp at all?
Yes, indeed it is. The backdrop behind me is our backdrop that we're using for a evangelistic series at the moment. We're calling it the Great Reset. It's really a Revelation seminar, but the Great Reset is the thing that's going to, between now and February, it's going to increasingly pop up all over. It's already popping up all over. The World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, all of these people are talking about Great Reset and new normal and all that kind of thing. So we took that phrase, they got it as the global reset, really. The official one for theirs is the global reset. We made it the Great Reset. But we're using it because we can benefit from the hashtags. And you know how that is. It just gives you that much better availability, visibility on the search engines. And so we now get all kinds of people that we wouldn't be able to reach in any other way, and they see it and they say, okay, well, this looks interesting. Let me go and take a look at what this is all about. In our case, the Great Reset is about resetting your life, getting it in order, so that when Jesus comes, you are right and not wrong. So, of course, we are not being devious about it. We are very clear about it up front, but we're just using that because of the hashtags that give us access to all the other people that we normally would not necessarily reach. Right. And so, yeah, that's the backdrop. It's 14 sermons, and we send it out on WhatsApp as an audio, and we send it out on YouTube as a video. Right.
Okay. And then testimonies. Have you got any WhatsApp direct testimonies of people coming to Christ through that evangelism?
Yeah, we have got many of them.
Is there a memorable one that you can share with us in just the last few minutes of this chat?
Yeah, I can really do that. Papua New Guinea, that's closer to your neck of the woods. We train them up in cell phone evangelism. They've been very active in cell phone evangelism over the last months, from about February on up to now. And I have just received a photo from Kepsi Lodo from there, where they've sent me a picture of 2,000 people in the Jiwoko province. I think it's Jiwoko province. I hope I'm pronouncing these things right. And they are now ready for baptism because of cell phone evangelism.
Right.
Just received from Luis Duran in South America some photos where they've just baptized over the last weekend a lot of people through cell phone evangelism in an empty church building there, where they went and they got together and they baptized a lot of people there. So yeah, it's on a weekly basis that we receive testimonies from all over the world, people that have been doing it, sending these sermons out, engaging with people on social media, getting them to the sermons, engaging in meaningful ways, and getting them to churches and pastors. One of the more interesting ones that I can tell you about right now is a lady in South Africa that's been listening to my sermons, my personal sermons, got in touch with me. She's a charismatic pastor, went to Bible school, big Bible school in South Africa, reputable Bible school, seminary, and been a pastor for quite a number of years. Got the messages on cell phone, listened to them, decided this is truth, and we've just made an arrangement with the pastor in Witbank, South Africa. They've been talking together and they are just arranging to be baptized now.
Wow.
So that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, wow. There'll be people listening to this, Neville, who are quite interested in getting this training in cell phone evangelism. What capacity do you guys have for people getting involved in this training? Can that happen from around the world, or does there have to be regional things?
No, that can happen. We train every week, Sunday mornings, our time obviously on Sunday mornings, but we set up with whoever from, we've just trained Mauritius. Mauritius went live this Sabbath. They've just went live with their cell phone evangelism. Yep. England, we've just had a big training session with them. So yes, they can arrange with us and we will set a time that is comfortable for them, and we will do the training with them and go through all the training with them.
Awesome. How can they get in touch with you guys directly?
Well, they can write me. It's pretty simple. It's my name, Neville, Neville, @awr.org. Yep. So that's easy enough. That's AdventistWorldRadio.org. So my name @AdventistWorldRadio.org, AWR.org.
Oh. Yep.
So that's as easy as that. You do have my telephone number, so you're welcome to give my telephone number to people, and they can WhatsApp me.
Sure.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Cool. Yeah. No, I bet there's going to be a lot of people who are very inspired and interested in the information that you've shared. Thanks for your time, Neville. You certainly are more of an expert in that field than anyone I've met, and I do appreciate you taking the time to chat with me tonight, my time, and midday your time. And
yes. Yeah, my day has almost just started.
Yeah. No, it's really exciting. I have, over the last few months, I've been hearing some of the stories come through of what cell phone evangelism is doing and is capable of, and the stories of the people that it's reaching. And it's an exciting thing. And like you said at the start, it is every church member's responsibility, privilege to be involved in this sort of stuff. And it is so much more accessible than we've previously thought. Not everybody's a preacher. I'm certainly not a preacher. I've worked as a pastor, but I'm not a preacher. And this
Kyle,
is all...
maybe if I can just jump in here. I've seen your digital missionary mission assignments coming Mondays on my computer. I've seen them for some time now, and you are right. I believe that is probably the most important job in the church right now. Is every single church member should be a digital missionary, every one of them. If we can get 22 million Adventists to everyone be a digital missionary and connect with 2 or 3 people, that's all they have to do on a social media platform, and do the assignments as you sending them out. And not just maybe the assignments that you are, but if they can get their minds set so that they know. If I know Doug Batchelor is a good Seventh-day Adventist, and I know, Pastor Ted Wilson is a good Seventh-day Adventist, and I know somebody maybe in England or somebody in South Africa or whatever. And when I'm on social media and these things come up, if I just like or make a comment or share those things, either to my own page or to just make the comment, like I say, or just like it, or if I go onto YouTube and I watch a sermon, make a little comment and like it or subscribe. All those things, this is the important thing. That's what digital missionaries should be doing. And if they do that, it will put the message of the Adventist Church right up there in the search engines. And the two most important search engines, it, is Google and YouTube. Yeah. And if we can get it so that the algorithm of Google starts picking it up and the algorithm of YouTube starts picking it up, it basically means we are putting the message out there to everybody that needs to be hearing it and seeing it. And remember, God doesn't say that we must force them into making a decision. He just says we put the message out there so that they have the opportunity of making the decision to accept him or reject him. Yeah. That's all we have to do. Yeah. And the digital missionaries, the church members, they can now do exactly that.
Your passion is inspiring, Neville. It's a little bit contagious is the word I'm after. And so, yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time, brother. And God bless in Cell Phone Evangelism Ministry. And we will include the links and your email address in the YouTube description of this and in the email coming out as well. Thanks, Neville.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. God bless.